Hey there, YouTubes. This is Grimweird coming back at you with more Enigmatica 2 Expert Mod Pack playthrough action for Minecraft 1.12.2, and this is E2E version 1.75. So last episode we cleared our sort of last major hurdle, which was getting the creative vending upgrade, and we've now got a gazillion of all of these things, and so we're basically closing out the Questbook now. So in between episodes, this is actually later the same evening for me. I decided to just power on through it. But if we look at the quest book, I was able to, let's see, last thing we had here was the dimensional stuff for RF tools. When last we left, we had some paper bark. You can see I just silk touched one log from the paper bark, threw it in here, and boom, got the rest of it. And then, just made one each of all the other things, threw it in here, and then had everything I needed. I had a shape card that I had made, so I threw it in there, got a few extras, made the silk touch one, etc., etc. So, basically that's how I just went through everything. It's like if I just had a small amount of it, or if I needed to make one of them, I threw it in here. So I took the environmental tech tier 6 ore miner and resource miner, threw it in here so I would have spares in case I decided I wanted to keep playing this later. I just sort of went through this, and every time I needed something or was going to use something up that was a pain in the butt to make more of, I just threw it in here. For instance, we needed a couple of Narslimus and a couple of Gormarillus and some of these other plants. I had made one just to close the Botania chapter, so then to not have to make more of them, I just threw them in drawers so that I have plenty of them. Same thing with Gaia pylons. I stole one from our Gaia summoning altar out there. Just grabbed one of those, threw it in a infinite chest, and then I had all that I needed to make some of the things that we needed for closing out this quest book. So you can see there was a variety of things I needed to make. Plus there's a bunch of draconic stuff that I did over here. But let's take a look at where we're at. If we check the quest book, so RF tools, that was pretty easy. We're probably just not going to use them. I've actually been sort of looking forward to getting this. I used the RF tools dimension things the only other time prior to this last few months where I've been playing a lot of modded Minecraft. 5 years before that, I played a big pack and played a little bit with RF Tools dimensions, and it was sort of fun making dimensions and exploring them and trying to get good stuff out of them. But it's too late in the game. By the time I can actually make the RF Tools dimension stuff, I have no reason to do so. So we'll save that for another playthrough. Taconic Evolution, I just went ahead and finished that. This was all super easy with infinite amounts of all of the cores and all of the stuff. It just made everything super easy. So, for instance, all of these, I just had to make one tool, Supremium Tool Core, and then boom, I had everything I needed. I already had a bunch of Supremium, but I went ahead and just made infinite amounts of it. So all of that just came together real fast. I had all the awakened cores I needed and the awakened or draconic energy cores I needed to upgrade those in the infusion crafting. So that all went very, very fast. So just bash through these tools, bash through these tools, bash through that. Did the power transfer crystals here. Did this, which allows you to get Ender eggs. The Ender energy manipulator allows you to get Ender dragon eggs out of live dragons. We don't need that because we've made what we needed with UU matter and or mystical seeds. so we didn't really even need to get into that. Taconic Reactor, I think we're wrapping things up here, so I think I'm going to save playing with that. I've never made one before. I'm interested in making one, but it's just really not something I need at this point in this playthrough, so I think I'm going to save that challenge for another time. So we got everything done here, and now if we move on to the bragging rights chapter, I went ahead and busted out all of these little ones over here. They were pretty quick and easy. The creative screen, I already had a RF tools screen and a normal screen, so I just duped those in my creative drawers and then made these open computer screens, and boom, that was done. Then the creative mana tablet. This was a lot of stuff, but I already had all of this. I already had one Kekamuris, one Munchdew, and one of each of the plants that we made during the closing the Britannia stuff. So I even had a full mana tablet, which it was pretty cool because when you put a full mana tablet in here and you pull them back out, it's full already. And so that was sort of handy. So basically what that allowed me to do was, because I don't have a really advanced mana generation system, all I've got is a few Indoflames down here. I never went with anything too complicated, and I needed to make the fill up a advanced power ring, and I didn't have a ton of mana. Basically, I just got this one pool over here. But what that allowed me to do was I could take infinite mana tablets, I could throw them in the pool, I could switch it to drain, and then I could hit it with time in a bottle, and I could instantly suck 2 or 3 of these dry and fill the pool up, and that allowed me to then fill up the greater band of mana. So I actually had to fill up 2 of these. I should have just filled up 1 and duped it, but it didn't occur to me that I might need 2 of them. But you need 1 for the mana tablet and 1 for the creative mana pool. The creative mana pool and the creative mana tablet is basically the same recipe, except tablets in one and pools in the other. But yeah, that was all pretty easy and straightforward. Again, closing out the Britannia chapter, we had made 1 shard of Laputa, so I was able to make infinite ones of those. If we look at some of the other stuff, here's the creative mana pool. You can see it's pretty much the same recipe except pools, so that was no big deal. Hold on, I have to cough. Okay, so the creative modifier, this was not a big deal. I had all of this stuff. Literally, I had to like cook up 1 magma slime crystal and 1 blue slime crystal, and I had everything else. I had some magical wood, so I just needed to multiply that in my infinite vending drawer and then make that. So basically I had all of this stuff, so I just whipped it out. If we take a look at this guy, again, this was pretty easy. I did not have one of these, but I could make another one pretty easy. I had plenty of blocks of Insanium Essence and block of Insanium. I had all of this stuff, so it was pretty easy to just whip that out. Again, I didn't have a capacitor handy, but it was just a quick, with infinite energy cores and wyvern cores, it was just really easy to just craft these real quick, dupe them, and then make those. So this was no problem. The creative mill, none of this was really a problem except for the opinium cores. For some reason I'm having a real problem getting the opinium cores from extra utilities to work well through my ME system through auto crafting. So I had to do that sort of by hand, which was sort of a pain in the butt. But it still only took 10 minutes or so to get that done. The rest of this I had all auto craftable or was pretty easy to craft and just duplicate it in the drawers. So that was no big deal. Again, I think the hardest part of this was just getting the damn Opinium cores, because I struggled with trying to get them through auto crafting in the ME system for longer than I should before I just gave up and made them manually. So I had these, I had most of these in here already, but they just weren't wanting to work well. So finally I just said, you know what, to heck with it. I just went ahead and made them by hand, and it didn't take that long at all. I already had some at the good level, so I just duped those, made some damn good ones, and then made some amazing ones, or just made one of each and threw them in here, and then I had plenty. So that wasn't too bad. If we take a look at this guy, I actually had some of these that I'd gotten in a quest reward, but I never used. So I just threw them in a drawer, made 9 of them, and was done. So that was easy. The gun had me a little worried, but I actually had everything I needed to make this. This I thought might be something scary, but prismarine crystals and stained glass, any glass, and side dust, I already had all that stuff. And the gun portions, I was a little worried about that. I thought the guns might be complicated, but they're just cymetal ingots, ebony, and ivory cymetal ingots in a gun form. And I've been making those for ultimate ingots the entire time. So I already had some of those on hand, so it was very simple to just throw those in drawers so that I had tons of them and just bust those guns out. So that was not a big deal. That leaves us with the creative block exchanger. This was the one that took the most time, mostly just because this, again, had problems going through the ME system. It had problems, and everything is tiered. So the thermal expansion exchanger core is tiered, and the exchanger itself is tiered, and the flux capacitor is tiered. So you had to keep making and upgrading all 3 of those components. So this was a lot of back and forth and fiddling around to get this made out of that, out of that, out of that, out of that, and out of that. So you had to just sort of fiddle through those recipes. So that took me a little bit of time. But as you can see, we made them all, and here they are, and we're done. So that is good. I've also got all the draconic tools and weapons here. And of course, I'm wearing the armor. So we are good to go on the affinity stuff. And then we will be done. So basically, this is all we have left in the pack. So I figured we would do that and then maybe sort of take a quick recap and call it a game. So let's see what we got here. Infinity blocks. Let's make one of those. And boom, we've got some of them. And let's busting these out. Hoe of the green earth. Nature's ruin. Planet eater. I had never noticed the names on these. World breaker. That's pretty darn cool, actually. Crystal matrix. I think I made some infant ones of those. these? Rock wool. What was it? It was, looked like it was the gray one. That is the base one. Here we go. That is smelting slag. Huh. All right. Sorry, this one caught me a bit by surprise. It's my last drawer. Alright, let's try that again. Boom. Longbow of the heavens. And we need one infinity catalyst. Sword of the Cosmos. I'm going to momentarily throw. Let's see what the quest book is doing here. Yeah, we'll let the quest book catch up a bit here. I need to take off my armor and start working on it. And 2 more infinity catalysts. Whoa. I think my infinity boots are moving faster than I'm used to. We'll have to take a look at those. All right, pardon me, I have to cough again. All right, my first ever infinity armor. Ooh, nifty. Could probably hide my goggles. Nice. All right, well, there you have it. Wonder if this has a similar, yeah, it looks to have a similar interface as the or maybe not. So I don't know anything about this. I've got Creative Flight, and it's fast. My run speed is pretty fast. Don't know what's going on with the bow. Whoa. Do you sprout a star when you, oops. Do you sprout like star-shaped wings when you fly? Ooh, that looks sort of cool. I wish there was something for me to do. I feel like I'm all dressed up and have no place to go. There used to be like an infinity dragon or something for me to go fight. Let's see, where are we at here? We're done. Oops. I did not look to see if there were any rewards or anything. It's just a command. Alright, well, there you have it. So, we're done. All green checks across the board. I wasn't sure I was actually going to make it through, but I have. Alright, well, I am pretty happy with that, and I'm not sure what to do with myself now. I think I'm going to go start another pack. I'm going to take a look at this sword. Ooh. Well, short of going out and seeing if this works against the Chaos Guardian, there's not really a whole bunch of stuff for me to do with all this. So I might save playing with all of this for some other mod pack where it comes a little easier and there's more stuff to do, if such a mod pack exists. For right now, I'm going to declare victory. We have successfully done all the things. I haven't played a lot with the Draconic stuff. I have not made a Draconic energy core. That's something I want to do at some point. But I don't really need to on this playthrough in this game, so I might save that for another time, another world. So let's sort of just run through a quick recap. Actually, I'm going to pause here and get a drink because my throat is starting to bug me. And then we'll come back and do sort of a quick recap of sort of the highs and lows of this playthrough. Bashed our way through this pretty darn quick and successfully made it through the whole darn thing. So I'm pretty pleased with myself. Not much of a bragger, I don't think, but I am pretty happy that I had the perseverance to push my way through this, even when it sort of got tedious here the last week or so. But I'll be back in a moment. Okay, I am back, and let's talk a bit about some of the things that I did to get through this pack reasonably quickly and easily. Basically, one of the things was I only took really 2 major detours for kicks and giggles that were pretty focused. I tried to play pretty darn focused on this playthrough, just to try and make it through this big, huge challenge mod pack. The two sort of things that I did that got a little out of hand probably, or were more work than necessary, was terraforming this plateau. So you can sort of see here where the grass is greener. Here's like one corner of some stuff here where I'm in the steppe. And now if I come this way, I'm in the savanna. So terraforming this area to get rid of the rain was something that was fun, unnecessary, but sort of fun. And then the other thing was I did a lot of dragon lair plundering, and that was fun. I ended up getting like 24, or being able to make 24 Californium RTGs, which was really helpful for early game power. And I got a lot of stuff that helped me out in the. I got a lot of litherite and a lot of other things that helped me out. So I don't regret that at all. It was sort of fun. I got to use the dragon steel armor. So this stuff, the fire dragon steel chest plate, is actually really great armor for as early as I got it in the game. And we kept that all the way through to our draconic armor. And that was a lot of fun to get that and make that and play with ice and fire a bit. But definitely some of the things that I did to get through this pack quick was I looted the heck out of a bunch of villages, specifically things like chests, pistons, furnaces, and then anything else we could find. Quite often you can get black quartz early, and black quartz, these guys, black quartz, they work for getting you to harvesting tier 4, which is lead. So that helped me get really quickly, and you can make these before you even make a smelter. So that got me to a decent harvesting level right out of the bat, right out of the starting gates. So that was good. I really concentrated on getting to mechanism steel fast, and also to mechanism the osmium compressor and whatnot to make the Osgold glass laser gun. For me, I just really like the laser gun. You could probably make other things that are as good or better in the amount of damage they put out, like the DPS, damage per second. But I just love the fact that the Illuminati from the glowstone laser medium outlines things in white, and that the thing shoots through walls. So it really helps when you're running around in caves or running around in forests. And then also the Osgold glass thing for the Global Traveler. Getting Osgold glass for Global Traveler really early was helpful for traveling about. Some playthroughs you'll get an Ender book or some other type of teleporting early on, and I eventually got those things. But you can get Osgold glass and then get Global Traveler on all of your tools and weapons pretty darn quick if you focus on really getting to mechanism ASAP. One of the things that helps you get a decent amount of steel early is that ice and fire ash will actually turn into coal coke. So that's a good way to get yourself into steel fast. The other thing that I really concentrated on was getting unbreakable on my pickaxe as fast as possible, because the combination of vein miner and lots of good food and unbreakable pickaxe makes manual mining early in the game pretty easy. You can see here, this is under my base, and we just basically tore this place up. And all of this vein mining just tore this place up really quick too. So that was good. Another thing that really helped this playthrough was getting UU matter going very early. Uh, Mainly, one of the things that was really nice is that the connectors used for the environmental tech are actually really cheap with UU matter, and that removes that nasty, let's use thousands of blocks of tin to make these structures. Um, if you have UU matter, you don't need to end up using thousands of blocks of tin. So that makes getting into, you can see here I've got 2 tier 5 personal nanobot beacons, which is making me resistance 5, which means I'm basically indestructible except for the Chaos Guardian. Full saturation so I can mine like crazy. Full regeneration and health boosts, so that helped me out with blood magic, night vision, etc. If we go back upstairs, this UU matter area was one of the first things I put in place. We started out with cobblestone generation here, which was good. Added some cobblestone generation from these nuclear craft cobblestone generators, and eventually also threw in some cobblestone from these material stonework factories. But on the whole, we got into good power early enough that we didn't really need to. I'm not cooking anything, am I? No. We got into good power early enough that I didn't really need to worry too much about getting scrap through here. I just played with the various types of pipes and the number of sides I was using to basically spend all my extra power on UU matter, and that really helped out. As for power, I sort of really like the thermoelectric plants for immersive engineering that you can make really early. Those can be handy if you make like a decent sized array of them and put like packed ice and blocks of uranium on either side of them. And then we very quickly moved to this beast, which served us very well through the mid game, which is 50 Enderium turbines and can make 80,000 RF per tick. So this is a very simple: grow melons, turn them into biofuel, turn the biofuel into ethylene, put the ethylene into the gas turbine control. This thing was a piece of cake, and as soon as we were able to start getting a decent amount of ender pearls, this was not that hard to make. This guy was basically mostly just used for turning uranium into cyanite. Things went pretty well with the ME system. The one thing I will say is, you can see I've got a lot of drives here. I started out using all 4K drives, which I think in smaller mod packs, or more contained and concise mod packs might be good. But because you end up using such high quantities of everything here, I really found that the 16Ks were much better. So the reason I've got so many green lights is that the last several that I put on here, I filled with 16K drives instead of 4K drives, and then made them high priority. And the 16K drives are doing much better than the 4K drives. So that's a takeaway that I'm going to keep with me. In smaller mod packs, 4K drives might be good, but when you get into these big beast ones, like if I play Enigmatica 2 Expert Skyblock next, or Project Ozone 3 Kappa next, one of those two, since they're such huge mod packs and they're going to require huge recipes and huge things, I'm going to try and go straight to 16K drives for my ME system. What else? This worked out really well for me. The arc furnace for immersive engineering. You can see I've got the ghost of a Terra Steel chest plate there. Sending drops for things like tough alloy and hard carbon, Terra Steel, Mana Steel, Elementium. Sending those here to be recycled was wonderful. In this mod pack, I made it all the way through, completely closed the quest book. I never once made any Mana Steel, any Terra Steel, or any Elementium. Not once. Never made any of it. It all came from recycling. So that's pretty good. And basically, we just interchest it into our system from our mob farm. And then we have export buses here that send them with fuzzy cards into here. They get sucked into the powered diamond anvil to be repaired. Damaged armor gives you much less ingots than fully repaired armor. So that's why we're repairing it. And it just turned out to be the way to go. So I can't recommend that enough, unless you enjoy making Terra Steel and Mana Steel and Elementium. But just be aware that if you get that hooked up early enough, you won't need to probably. What else can I say about all of this? Sieving. I had never used, because I've never really played Skyblock, I've never used sieving before. The auto heavy sieve that I got from a loot chest, and putting a Civ Fortune 3, Civ Efficiency 4 diamond stiffened mesh in there, and then combining that with the industrial foregoing ability to make gravel and stone and sand and dust and just pump it out. That is super powerful, and that basically really stocked me up quite early on a lot of materials, to the point where I didn't really even need the environmental tech ore miner, except for the things that don't come out of the sieves. So those were really nice. This farm's been going a long time, and it's basically, you can see it's just your basic cursed earth farm. It started out with vector plates, and then once I could, I switched up to the mob crusher. But it's just a 9x9 here. At some times, there was a spawner in here, and at some times we turned on the mob duplicator that you could see in there, and that gave us wither skulls. So we had a wither skeleton and a mob duplicator for a while. We had a blaze spawner in there for a while. Eventually I had to pull the blaze spawner out and make a Ender IO powered spawner for it, just because there's so much competition here that normal spawners sort of get crowded out. It was okay at the beginning, but when we started needing lots and lots of blaze rods, I needed to pull it out of there. Our wither farm did great. We finished the game with... I just feel like I've been using nether stars like crazy for the last week or so, and I still have 1,800 of them. So we made plenty of that. Another thing that helped early on, and one thing that isn't really obvious, is that these floating crystals here that are pre-generated in the world, they're usually called floating crystals, but I think once you actually use them, they change their name to collector crystals. But you can actually use these to do starlight transfusion as soon as you have a linking tool. And so that helped me get into star metal faster. So that was sort of nice. Not used to the flight speed on this armor yet. And here you can see us, our rainy steppe and our terraformed savanna. So that was sort of nice. What else? I did manage to go through the whole game with just self-sacrifice here, thanks to having huge amounts of health from the nutrition system, and also max regeneration and saturation from the environmental tech personal nanobot beacon. There were a few times where I was like, I probably should set up some automated blood generation, but I didn't really need it as long as I was patient and did things in steps instead of trying to bash it all out at once. Got to play around with mystical agriculture for the first time. It did help. It doesn't make tons of stuff doing it this way. So you don't get extra seeds from the cloche. And I don't think you get extra seeds through most automated harvesting methods in this mod pack. I did actually make a little patch out here just to see if I could get some extra seeds. I think it's set at around 5% chance of getting extra seeds, and so I harvested this about 10 or 20 times and didn't get any extra seeds, and then just went So it turned out that the one thing in the end game that I really needed a lot of that I didn't have was mostly the Certus quartz for the Certus quartz singularities, and I basically ended up sieving dust for those. And these things can pump out a ton of dust, and the sieve is really good at picking that out. So that took care of that for us. What else? I think that's sort of a main recap of, the kinds of things that went on here. It was a good playthrough. I really enjoyed it. My one previous to this playthrough is Enigmatica 2 Expert again. The first one, I did not know what I was doing at all, and my world got sort of corrupted, and so it was good to start over and do this again and do this better. But yeah, I think I'm ready for a new challenge. So with that, trying to think if there's any other interesting things or wisdom that I learned here. Those are sort of the main points. I like the nutrition system. I was able to get a lot of health. I'm running around with like 190 health. Although now I'm curious because I did see, if I go food list size, it says you need 12 more to increase your max health. So it's possible that I'm not at my max health yet. I've eaten 438 unique foods, but it's possible that I've just reached a point where you don't get a new health every 10. Maybe you get a new health every, 20 or something. But I don't think I need to worry about that in this playthrough. But it's something I'll take a look at in the next game. What else? I think that's about it. So I think we're going to wrap things up and call this a win. I'm going to leave this world in place and maybe come back and play around a bit more with it. But my favorite part of the game is actually just progressing through technology and magic and roadblocks and ramping up that ability. So now that I can do pretty much everything and have infinite this and infinite that, and nothing left to fight, and no further challenges. If I were going to just build, I would probably just build in a creative world rather than continue to build here. So we're moving on. And I've never done a skyblock. I sort of Skyblocks sort of always make me feel a little weird because in the beginning I always feel both a weird combination of claustrophobia and that I don't feel that I have enough room. Everything feels really cramped, and I just hate being on a tiny island. And also agoraphobia, that it's like there's nothing on the horizon, so it's like, it feels weird that way. I did do a little practice run with Skyblock stuff. Well, I tried Skyblock once, and things were ugly because I didn't quite realize it, but I was right on the coast, and so I started building my base, and it turns out my base was in an ocean biome, which meant I couldn't get any animals to spawn, and everything went downhill from there. So we'll probably pay attention to what biome we start out in if we start a new world and go the Skyblock route, and re-roll if we start someplace hideous. Alright, well, I think that's going to do it. Thank you if you watched this journey. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to starting a new one. And check it out if you like. It'll probably have a first episode up in a few days. Bye.